Welcome everybody after the break in our afternoon session. This session is devoted to cloud computing. My name is Andrzej Kontkiewicz, and it's my pleasure to be here on the Symposium. I've been here already a couple of times. Last year, in the same hotel, in the same room, on the same stage. I was at that time talking about our end-user computing solutions. Today, I would like to cover our new solution, which we announced last year during our VMware. In his keynote, Gilles already mentioned it, software-defined data center. And in my presentation, I would like to tell a little bit more about software-defined data center, the key drivers which lead to implementing this idea, this solution in IT environments of the companies. Why is it implemented, and to show our offer to our customers, our solution, our product called vCloud Suite, and to tell you a little bit about solutions which are part of this suite, and how they help users to address problems which they may have in the data centers. Okay, so let me start with just showing you typical problems. I think all of you are aware of them, which we are facing in the IT. Those are problems of mostly of IT managers, of CIOs of the company, of people who are responsible of building IT and providing IT services to the users. And there are major three of them. The first, very well known, is of course cost. We are still in a crisis, and IT is all the time seen by within the company, especially by finance, as some sort of black hole which can always absorb as much money as possible, and IT always wants more money. And the pain is how to spend less money on the infrastructure, and at the same time to be more agile, to bring more value to the company, and also to respond fast and respond on time to requirements of business. And then at the end, how to be secure, how to minimize risks which we are exposed to, how to find whether or not our IT is vulnerable. So, VMware is and was always known for solving the first problem, the problem of costs, of lowering both capital expenses and so-called CapEx, and operational expenses, so-called OpEx. Why and how? Well, first, of course, reduction of capital expenses, and this is, of course, achieved by consolidation of workloads, consolidation of more application on less number of servers. So the first reduction of cost is when purchasing, when spending money on the hardware. The second one is reduction of operational costs, and this comes from automation. This comes from automated management of the environment, of virtualized infrastructure. And finally, increased availability. And this is done, and this enables IT to minimize downtime, to minimize any problems with IT services, any disruption due to any problems which may occur. However, to properly use this virtualization and all benefits of virtualization, we need to have proper underlying infrastructure. And looking at data centers, we can easily see that for historical reasons, those data centers are still fragmented. And this fragmentation comes from, I would say, two sides. This is fragmentation due to the hardware which is implemented in the data center, different vendors providing different hardware, different servers, different storage, different networking hardware, and also from operating systems. The reason for that is very simple. This is historical organic growth of the data centers. With time, new applications were brought to the data center, and it was much easier to bring them together with the hardware. And as a result of that, we have multiple operating environments. We have several isolated silos of hardware, silos of operating systems, silos of applications. So different group of hardware playing different role in this data center with complex management. And I would say that typical data center based on just on the hardware is operating system centric. It is divided into small parts, small pods, small silos, or small or big silos, but based on mostly on the operating system. And in addition to those operating system silos, we have also silos which are in a sense dedicated to different applications. So we can see a silo of hardware dedicated to databases, to critical applications, and now with some new modern tendencies which are coming to IT, like high-performance computing, like Hadoop, like big data. Again, it happens that new silos are being created in the data center, and this causes the internal tendency from the IT, from people who are handling this environment, to do something about that, to make their life easier, I would say. But there is also a tendency to have some change in the data center coming from absolutely another direction, from users. Why is it so? Well, what we are observing nowadays is tendency to move away from typical PCs, and actually we are already talking about post-PC era, that users are not using anymore typical desktops. As a matter of fact, there are practically no desktops, almost no desktops manufactured at the moment. If somebody is talking about desktop, he's rather talking about laptop actually. But users are using more and more mobile devices. Those are smartphones, those are tablets, and people are using, analyst companies are showing that the business user is carrying with him every day 2 or 3 such different devices: laptop, smartphone, maybe tablet. And why is it so? Well, this is coming from so-called consumerization, of course. That after 5 o'clock, when everybody goes back home, he starts using internet. He starts using all kind of applications which are available in the cloud, social portals. On the next day, when they come to work, they would like to see something exactly the same. And this is causing applications which are used within the companies also to change with time, because IT realizes that there is such a need. But there are also new applications within the company. I mentioned big data. I mentioned some other technologies. They are based mostly on the cloud infrastructure, on cloud environment. And those clouds require the data center to change. The data center cannot be based on individual servers or servers being grouped in independent silos. This must be cloud environment. So this tendency to do something about the data center comes also from the users. So the infrastructure needs to be changed. And there are several tendencies, several directions which show that this is indeed happening. The first one is lowering the cost of the hardware which has to be used for to create this virtualized environment, or environment for the cloud. And let's say a couple of years ago, like 6-7 years ago, the typical cost of the server was around $20,000-$25,000. And it was nothing fancy, like two processors, 4-8 gigs of RAM, maybe 200 gig hard drive. And with time, the cost is going down, and the prediction is that probably by the end of this year, the cost of the servers may go down like $5,000. And another prediction says that probably next year, the typical configuration of the average server will be such that this will be 2 CPU, 16 cores per socket processor, 300 gigs of RAM, and such server will be able to host something like 300 virtual machines. And we are here in the hotel, and typical equipment of the hotel is minibar, and probably the size of this server will be the size of such minibar. So it'll be. What is important in that is that this all leads to the environment which is totally based on x86 processors. That when I was talking about this silo having different equipment based on different hardware, maybe even mainframes, this can be now changed, this hardware can be changed to the infrastructure, physical infrastructure, completely based on x86 processor. So the first trend which we are observing now is that there are more and more cheaper and more powerful servers based on x86 processors. The second tendency is related to applications which are running on those servers. And from our experience, from just input which we are getting from our customers all over the world, what is the typical requirement of the application at the moment? It is such that the virtual machine, or the machine actually, the server on which this application is running, should have 2 CPUs, 4 gigs of memory, a disk with less than 100 IOPS, and a network card around 1 megabit. And this is absolutely sufficient for typical average application. And when we look at our virtualization platform, at vSphere, not the latest, the previous one, 5.0, we are offering in 5.0 per virtual machine 32 virtual processors versus 2 which are required by average application. We offer 1 terabyte of memory per virtual machine. Requirement something like 4 gigs. We offer 350,000 of IOPS with a requirement less than 100. And finally, 36 gigabits per second for networking connection. So what does it mean? And also, maybe one more thing. What we are running, all those applications, I already said that, which we are running on the servers are changing. users are coming and requesting new types of interactions with their peers within the company, with their customers, with other companies. They want to work in the same way as they are sharing information at home using Facebook, using other portals. They are using, I already again mentioned that they are using different access devices, not just PCs, but mobile devices. There are new frameworks on which applications can be created. There are new data types, and the amount of data which needs to be processed is getting bigger and bigger. And finally, there is a new infrastructure platform for those applications. But all those new applications, all those changes can be virtualized. There is no reason whatsoever, maybe except some very dedicated applications which need very specific dedicated hardware, but other than that, there is no reason whatsoever why application cannot be virtualized. So the second tendency is to virtualize all applications. And finally, the third thing. This was already mentioned briefly in the keynote, but okay, probably I'll move away from this. It was already mentioned during the keynote, the provisioning of new machines in the data center. In the past, with physical hardware, it is matter of weeks or months. Why? Well, choosing a vendor, choosing a proper server, ordering it, maybe tender procedure in between, placing the order, manufacturing, delivering, unpacking, installing, long time, really weeks, months. With virtualization, when virtualization came in place, provisioning a new virtual machine with the operating system takes minutes. Within 2-3 minutes, we can have a new virtual machine. However, this is just the virtual machine. This virtual machine has now to be placed within the data center, connected to whole production environment. And this requires additional services. It requires configuring storage for this machine, configuring networking for this machine, configuring security for this machine, configuring management, configuring monitoring. This is being done in most cases still manually, and moreover this is being done by different people completely independently. And therefore, provisioning virtual machine which can be created in those 2-3 minutes takes a couple days. And so what we see? Well, what we see is that in the first place, provisioning those resources for business takes a long time, and also IT, instead of spending their time on critical and important problems for the data center, they have to deal with simple manual labor of configuring very simple services. And what is the net result of that? Business projects are being delayed. And what business are doing as a result of that? They are in sense taking matter in their own hands, and there is something which is called covered cloud or shadow IT. What people from business are doing, they are simply going out, and there is offering of public cloud, and they go there, and if they need some either infrastructure as a service, or software as a service, or maybe platform as a service, they just rent it. And from analysis of Gartner, they say that 1/3 of the budget which company is spending for IT is actually being spent outside of real IT department. And what is the problem? Well, many problems. Most of all, security. And Another thing is that those solutions don't necessarily have to be, people don't have to pay for it. They can be completely free. And probably the best example of that is Dropbox. Who is using Dropbox? I think everybody. And this is being a problem for IT. And what IT would like to do? Well, they would like to offer their users the possibility to obtain quickly provision machines, to quickly provision applications, workloads in the same way as this is being done in the public cloud offering. And the way to do this is to virtualize all hardware components in the data center. And this is the idea of software-defined data center, where everything, all those services here are in a sense being replaced by their software equivalents, and instead of having hardware, all those services are being delivered by the software, and moreover they are managed by the software. And therefore, this software-defined data center creates a new platform where there is just one big virtualized platform where all those services are being virtualized for all applications with easy homogeneous management, with on-demand, which is available on demand, which can be easily scaled out or scaled in if necessary. And all those workloads, all those applications can be kept on off-premise as needed. So the software-defined data center. And compute is being virtualized, and this is already very well known. Those are hypervisors. But on top of that, we are now going in such direction that we are virtualizing storage, we are virtualizing networking and security, we are virtualizing management and automation. Then all applications are being virtualized, and they are being moved into virtual data centers, which are created on this software-defined data center platform within the company. And how we can achieve that? What kind of solution we offer to achieve this goal? Well, this is this vCloud suite, which was announced last year during VMware. And what does it consist of? Well, first thing is virtualization platform, and this is vSphere, and vSphere now offered in version 5.1 with many new functionalities. Half an hour is not enough time to cover everything, so I'll just highlight those products which are within this solution. Then the possibility to create on this virtual platform virtual data centers. So infrastructure as a service platform, and this is vCloud Director, and then possibility to connect it to public cloud environment to create hybrid cloud, and this is vCloud Connector. Then we need this virtualized networking, we need security dedicated to virtual environments, and this is a cloud networking and security solution. We need disaster recovery automation, and there is a solution which is called Site Recovery Manager. This has been for a long time in the market, but now it has many enhancements, many new features, and probably one most important is the possibility to have replication between two data centers, between primary and secondary data center, based not on storage replication mechanisms, but based now on a vSphere replication mechanism. Then we have the solution which is used to monitor and manage operations within the data center, to see the health status, and also to proactively, in a sense, predict any possible problems which may occur. And this is vCenter operations management. Then on this platform, we can provision applications. And to do that, we have vFabric Applications Director. And finally, provisioning of IT services and combining our platform with other platforms from other users, and this is vCloud Automation Center. And all this is called vCloud Suite. One very interesting and long-awaited thing about this solution from licensing point of view is that we very much simplified licensing, and licensing of this solution is per processor, per CPU, with no any other requirements. I mentioned several problems which software-defined data center addresses, and at the very beginning, or could address. I talk about the shadow IT, about users going to public cloud instead of using their own data center, and software-defined data center can solve this problem by creating self-service, so by creating this pool of resources, and then based on this, the possibility to easily provision new servers, to provision applications, to provision workloads. We can, with this tool, create portals from which users can, exactly in the same way as they are doing it in the public cloud environment, request for either hardware or infrastructure or application or workloads can be given granted, and then IT can measure the usage of this environment by those users. So self-service and solving the problem of shadow IT. Then another thing is of course monitoring of this environment, which is always a problem, especially a problem in this divided data center with many silos which have to be monitored independently. Here with this fully virtualized environment with a solution which is VCOps, vCenter Operations Management, this can be easily done, and this solution can be also self-optimizing and can predict problems before by behavior of virtual environment. They can predict problems which may happen in the future. And finally, problem of security and disaster recovery. We have disaster recovery solutions, and we have security solutions which are dedicated to virtual environment. We have edge firewalls, we have application firewalls. We have the possibility to install protection and security solutions, especially antivirus solutions, in this environment in such way that it is better configured to virtual environment and works better and uses less resources. And finally, I mentioned that one of those solutions which is used in this suite is called vCloud Automation Center, and this is a very, very interesting product because it enables us to join or to combine this environment based on our virtualization of our vSphere with vCloud or public offering offered on our platform again, but not only on our platform, but with all other service providers. It can be Amazon, it can be Microsoft Azure, it can be anything else. We are able to handle not only our hypervisor, but also other hypervisors and handle all other hardware, all hardware from any vendors, so create a really, really big and efficient hybrid cloud for the IT. And I think with that, I used my half hour, so thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.